Hey guys, it's Lizzie. Thank you for hanging out with me for another live stream. So as I said a couple days ago, my boyfriend is doing his finals week, and so that's why I'm live streaming every day because I can't talk to him. But his birthday is on Friday. I'm so excited. My boyfriend is turning 30. Isn't that crazy? I'm only 26, but it makes me feel so old being with someone who's way older than me. So anyways, I'm gonna get to see him and visit him on Friday, so I probably won't stream on Friday. But it's been so nice getting to hang out with you guys because it's really sad not being able to FaceTime or call because he's studying. So thank you guys for being here. Live stream yesterday, we talked about some controversial topics. We talked about the theology of marijuana, if it's okay as Catholics to do weed for medicinal purposes or casually. We also talked about abortion for a lot of it. So we did a pretty intense chat. So today we're going to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, to just ask questions and I'm going to respond to them. Make sure to like the video, thumbs up the video if you're watching now, or if you're watching after, it helps my place in the YouTube algorithm. Hi Pharisee, hi Maria, hi Bethia, hi Mauricio, hi Ricardo, I love you too. Hi, Argan. Hi, Gianna. Hi, Claire. Hi, King David. That's a great username. Someone asked me on Instagram today which saints I would want to meet, and King David was one of them. I think we forget about that a lot, that the Old Testament saints are also saints, all the holy people from the Old Testament. And actually, if you go to Byzantine Catholic churches or Orthodox churches, they actually have icons of the Old Testament saints and stained glass and everything. But in Catholic churches, actually, I have in some Catholic churches seen stained glass of like Abraham and David and people like that. So some do have them. So let's see. Launching a podcast on Friday. You should have us on Living Communion. That's so exciting. Can you make a video on the practical sides of Catholicism? So I made a video a few weeks ago, maybe like a month ago. Reasons, let's see what the video was called so I don't misspeak. But it was basically like reasons, it was like practical reasons to be Catholic. So it was called 13 reasons everyone would be happier as a Catholic compared to being Protestant. So why Protestants would be happier as Catholics. So I will link that video in the chat. I don't know if that's what you mean by the video title, but I'll put it right there. Vera, hi, thank you for being a moderator. Argan, hi. Raphael, hi. Caitlin, thank you for being a moderator. Could you pray for me? Really stressed. Oh, that's so sad. She has a really intense job. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Vera. Hi, Dark Knight 17. What does the 17 mean? Is it like the day you were born or the year you were born or something? I guess it's not the year you were born. If you were born in like 2017 or 1917, that totally, you couldn't be like a 3-year-old on a live stream. Although now kids are using electronics so young, it's amazing. I'm definitely not going to do screen time with my kids when they're younger. It's really bad for kids to be like on iPads and watching shows all the time when they're like 2 or 3, but parents do it a lot. So I'm definitely going to have to come up with other activities to do with children. Okay. Fatima, what is your favorite moment of 2020 and with us? My favorite moment of 2020? Honestly, this year has been like such a flash. It's gone by so fast. But probably some of my favorite moments have been in my Bible studies. We've just had so much fun. We've been studying Acts this semester, and it's just been so many great conversations coming out of it. I love Bible studies. I love discussions coming from scripture. My favorite moments with you guys as my subscribers are definitely whenever we do the take a shot anytime Lizzie says, I made an entire video talking about this topic. I think that's funny. And then the whole demon possession thing that came up this year, when I'm pretty sure it was established 2020, when everyone's like, grass is demon possession, necklaces are demon possession, movies are demon possession. Oh, no, demonic. We say demonic. Movies are demonic. Grass is demonic. Hair is demonic. When we do that inside joke, it makes me really, really happy. I feel like when we have inside jokes together, we know each other really well. Okay. I wasn't here for the conversation. Could you give me a yes or no if Catholics are allowed to use marijuana for non-medicinal purposes? So the reason we talked about it for so long is because the church has not said either way 100%. So I was saying that my personal opinion on it is that it's I'm not a priest or a bishop or the Pope. So this is just like my perspective on it, and my intuition is that it affects you less than alcohol does. And so if we're allowed to drink and get tipsy but not drunk as Catholics, I don't understand why using marijuana would be problematic. And I think because it being used recreationally is a relatively new thing, the church hasn't ruled on it yet. So I've talked to priests about it and they've been like, I don't know either way either. So no one really knows right now. I guess Pope Francis needs to make a papal infallibility statement about weed. I'm just kidding. That's not what papal infallibility statements are for. But I'm sure in a future writing, the Pope may talk about marijuana. Or I'm surprised the media hasn't asked him about it. Isn't it so annoying whenever he does interviews with the mainstream media? I'm like, no, like leave him alone, get away. It always leads to so much drama. But I'm curious to what the Pope thinks about it. Okay. And obviously, if you're using it for medicinal purposes, totally okay in Catholicism. Do you believe that the Catholic Church was infiltrated by communist Freemasons like Taylor Marshall and Tim Gordon suggest? So I just want to be clear, Tim Gordon and Taylor Marshall are two different people who disagree with each other on a plethora of topics. So I wouldn't definitely say that they both agree on that. I mean, I don't know Tim Gordon's view on that, but I wouldn't say 100% they both agree on that topic. But no, I don't think it's been infiltrated by communists and Freemasons. I haven't read the book yet, so maybe the book would change my mind. But no, I don't agree at all. I agree with Bishop Barron and his perspective on the book. Okay. You should make an interview with Cameron from Capturing Christianity. Ooh. Okay, I will screenshot this and look into it. Please pray for my grandma. She passed away a week ago. Definitely keep praying for her soul. And I think it's beautiful that we can pray for people in our lives who have died, and we can even ask for their intercession in our lives. It's really, really beautiful. Can you do a video about the image of Our Lady of Anna Polo? The statue was said to be burned and shot by spear and still stands today, and it's called Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage. Wow, that's really, really cool that there was a miracle surrounding the statue. I will screenshot this and put it in my folder on my computer of Catholic video ideas and talks. Okay. Hi, Caitlin Hayuka. Do you believe in literal giants? And that's such a random question. I don't know. I don't think I do, but I haven't looked into it that much. By the practical side of Catholicism, I mean like setting up an at-home altar icon corners Bible study. Oh, okay. So I'm going to do an Advent series, by the way, you guys. So I have to get into that. I'm probably going to work on the series tomorrow because I honestly don't know that much about Advent. So I actually have to research it. But I'm sure there's other people like me who are newish to the church who don't know that much about Advent. So I'm going to be working on that video. Yesterday, the live chat was like ID showers 30 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes. Yeah, we talked about shower links in the last live stream too, and how anyone who takes more than 15 minutes in the shower, especially dudes, I don't understand you guys like at all. Can you make a video on the main differences between Catholicism and Orthodoxy? Yes, I have an upcoming video, Lies Orthodox Believe About Catholics, but yeah, maybe it would be less confrontational to just do the differences because, yeah, that's actually an entire video. Let me grab my phone. I think that's an entire video to just talk about like theology differences between Catholicism and Orthodox. So let me write that down. Okay. Differences between Orthodox and Catholic. And I am making a video on Byzantine Catholicism really soon. I was supposed to film that tonight, and then I'm like, I don't want to film phone tonight because I had my Bible study and I didn't want to do like a full face of makeup. I didn't feel like it. So I'm going to film tomorrow, multiple videos tomorrow, because I'm leaving California and I'm going to be on the East Coast celebrating Thanksgiving, celebrating Trevor's birthday. Also, it's Trevor's 3-year anniversary of being Catholic. He's a toddler Catholic too. And it is the first time we were ever like in person in our relationship. So like our first kiss was also in November. So it's like my favorite month. I was thinking like before I turned on the camera that November is probably my favorite month because Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. It's my lover's birthday. It's his anniversary of being Catholic, anniversary of our relationship in a lot of ways. So yeah, I love this month so much. What is your favorite Old Testament patriarch, including females? I am reading Origen's commentary on Genesis right now, and he's talking a lot about Abraham, which I think is really cool. But I think Joseph is my absolute favorite, just the story of everything he overcame in his life, being enslaved and being betrayed by everyone, and then rising above that and being like so strong in his faith, even in jail. I think that's whole story, and then like saving his people, that whole story is so inspiring. What do you think of the goddess Pachamama? So I don't know if you guys, probably you all know, but the Pachamama controversy that happened earlier in the year was so ridiculous. Was that before or after quarantine when that happened? Or was that a year ago? It feels like that was earlier in the year when that happened. And it was so ridiculous because I was trying to defend Pope Francis and everyone was like against Pope Francis. And it was just like ridiculous. And then remember when that guy and like Taylor Marshall and the like planned for this other guy to take the Pachamama Catholic things and throw them in the river? Do you remember when that happened? And then Taylor Marshall came out and said he was behind it and he wanted to be there but couldn't. That was crazy. So, are you married yet? No, we're not even engaged yet. See, I don't know when we're gonna get engaged now because my mom was gonna give me my grandmother's engagement ring, so from her mom, but she hasn't even met Trevor yet because he was gonna visit over Christmas. We were both gonna go to Florida for Christmas, but now my mom's getting surgery then, so he got uninvited from Christmas. Well, it wasn't gonna be like on Christmas, it was gonna be like December, you know what I mean? So now it's just going to be me, my dad, and my mom for Christmas. And my sister isn't coming home for Christmas because of coronavirus. She's like the most serious of anyone I know about coronavirus. Like she only sees her roommate. She has one roommate and that's it. And I assume her roommate is the same way because she's serious about it and she probably would be mad if her roommate was like going out and everything. So, yeah, like I hung out with her in Boston, but we both had our masks on. It was outside. We went kayaking together. And guys, I am like the worst kayaker ever. Like I got so much water in my kayak and I almost capsized a couple times. And like ahead of time, I was like, okay, I'm going to leave my phone and my wallet at your place because I don't want it on the kayak with me. And Christine's like, it'll be totally fine. What are you talking about? Like, it's not going to get wet. And then, like, afterwards, she saw how wet I was. And she was like, oh, like, I understand. So at least I was humble about it and knew that I would, like, probably suck at the task of kayaking. It was so much fun, though, but it was just, like, I was so bad at it. But I would definitely do it again. Okay. Didn't the Pope say that no drugs should be decriminalized or legalized? I have no idea what Pope Francis said about drugs. Do you believe that American stars are involved with the Illuminati? These questions are all over the place. Like, do giants exist? Like, I don't know. So Justin is saying that everyone should take some type of drug at least once in your lifetime. That's the most profound religious experience I've ever had. No, don't do drugs, you guys. That comment is deleted. Please do not do drugs. You don't need it. Okay. I think people who drink all the time and do drugs are, well, number one, kind of insecure in that they can't interact with other people without being drunk and having alcohol in them. I think they're more like shy or insecure. And I also think boring. If you're relying on a substance and a drug to make you have fun, you need to get more hobbies in your life. And there's so many things you can do. You can learn an instrument, you can learn to sew, you can read books, you can make a book club, you can bake bread. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different things you can do. Teach yourself to play guitar. I play guitar, and well, I can't right now because of my nails, but I do have my guitar, and when I don't have long nails, I play guitar, and it's so much fun learning to play guitar and just learning different skill sets, having hobbies, having art forms, like doing photography outside, blow up your Instagram account. Like, there's so many different things to do with your time that don't involve drugs that are really, really fun. And so I've never understood why anyone would want to do drugs and excessive alcohol. So obviously in Catholicism, you're allowed to drink if you're of legal age, but you can't get drunk is the only thing. Malia says, I used to watch all of your videos when you were at Pepperdine, and I just rediscovered your channel. I'm a devout Catholic currently attending Notre Dame, and I'm so glad I found you again. Oh, yeah, that was like 4 years ago when I was in college. That's so funny. Okay. Wouldn't an infallibility statement on weed be normal since it's a moral issue and infallibility statements have to do with faith and morals? So no, I don't think there will ever be. The papal infallibility statements that have happened recently have been about like Marian dogmas or like why women will never be priests, which we also talked about last live stream. If you're interested in the last live stream, we talked about why women will not be priests and why the church isn't misogynistic and why it doesn't offend me as a feminist. And by the way, when I say feminist, it's my definition of feminism, which may be different from your definition of feminism. That's why I don't even like bringing up the feminism discussion, because everyone has different definitions and then I get accused of like all of these things that I don't even believe. Okay. Okay, I don't want to repeat that because it's really funny, but DJ Knight 17, your comment about the Pope was pretty funny. Okay. Hi, Lizzie. We love you. Filipino subscriber. Love you. Thank you for loving Catholicism. Aw, thank you for being Catholic too. It's so great that there's Catholicism all around the world. Okay. Is having social media and posting videos and photos of yourself considered self-pride? Well, and I'm the most prideful person my entire life is making YouTube videos and posting pictures on social media. But no, you can absolutely use it for good. And I think at least Instagram, where people, like my Instagram is like only photos of me and it's very artistic, and I have an app on my phone where I like plan out like which photo is going to be in which place, so my feed looks a certain way. And it's really fun, and it's like an art form doing Instagram. So I don't think it's like being full of yourself or prideful. Like, I think people in past times will probably look at us now and see like how many photos we have on our phones of ourselves and be like, that's horrible. Like, you are so full of yourself. But it's normal nowadays to do a lot of photos, and I think like it all depends on your heart as well. I say this all the time in regards to like what career or who you're going to marry or what your vocation is. Like, God can work through everything, and it's more about the intentions of your heart rather than your actual actions. You just have to discover your heart within it. Like, are you doing it for the wrong reasons, or are you just having a lot of fun by doing photography and editing photos and everything? Oh, this is sweet. Fatima says, a Hail Mary every time Lizzie says I made an entire video about it for an end to abortion. I think that is beautiful. Yeah, there's a Protestant on the stream who's hating on me called Saved Sheep. There's always like one Protestant on every live stream who's like fighting with everyone. I think yesterday there might have not been a Protestant on the live stream, but usually there's like at least one, and like they're like just like causing drama and fighting with everyone for fun. Okay. What are your favorite mysteries of the Rosary? Luminous, joyful, sorrowful, or glorious? So glorious are my favorite because we pray them every Wednesday, and my parish usually has a Rosary group on Wednesdays. Obviously, this year has disrupted my entire parish, but we do Rosary group on Wednesday, and then we have Bible study right after it. And the way you guys should watch my video. I prayed the Rosary every day for a month. I made an entire video on praying the Rosary every day for a month back in February and March. And in the video, I described the art of my church. So we have like a giant painting instead of a crucifix, and it's of God the Father, Jesus on the cross, the Holy Spirit coming down, and then the saint of our church is like below looking up at God. It's so cool. So that's like the glorious mysteries where it's like Jesus' resurrection from the dead, then the Holy Spirit coming down, and then there's like a giant Mary statue in our church as well, which is like the other glorious mysteries are of Mary, her assumption, the Mary being assumed up into heaven bodily and being crowned Queen of Heaven. So that's where I learned to play the Rosary with my Rosary group in my church at my parish. So do you guys do that where you say church instead of parish just because we live in a Protestant country? I feel like I still talk like that. Maybe I shouldn't. But I have to talk like that to communicate with my Protestant friends, because if I say parish, they're like, what is that? And like, you say homily and they're like, what is that? And yeah. The biggest difference between Orthodoxy and Catholicism is the Pope. The most notable difference, the reason I'm Catholic. Everyone is always like, why did you choose Catholicism over Orthodox? Like, what do you think I'm going to say? Like, the filioque? Like, differences about purgatory and the end times? Like, no, it's the Pope, obviously. Like, that's the only, like, relevant reason. People are always like, why did you do it? Like, it's some big question. Like, obviously, it has to do with the Pope. So way before quarantine, I think they're talking about the Pachamama drama was before quarantine, earlier in the year. Okay. I like Joseph too. He seems to be the type of guy that's a really good guy. We're talking about Joseph in the Old Testament, who was the dreamer. And okay, so Bishop Barron did a tour of his at-home chapel. And I don't know if it's at his home, but it's like his personal chapel. And he has a statue of Joseph dreaming. And I, to this day, don't know which Joseph it is, because Mary's spouse, Joseph, he had visions and dreams too. And then also Joseph in the Old Testament. So I'm like, which Joseph is like sleeping? It was so sweet though. Like, I want a Joseph statue that's sleeping. Oh, wouldn't it be so cool? Someone send me a link if there is. But if you had Joseph in his coat of many colors dreaming, a statue of that would be so cool. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. Kayaking would seem fun. I'm trying to read through all the comments and decide what to react to. You put me in timeout? Wow. Yeah, my moderators are legit. Like, they'll punish you if you act bad to try to reform you. Okay, everyone's talking about their thoughts on Pope Francis, which is really dramatic. OMG. Oh, I don't like it when people say OMG. I think it's using God's name in vain. I know people disagree with me, but I don't like it. So instead you can say, oh, hey, Lizzie. I'm from Singapore. Hi. So my best friend from college, two of my best friends from college are from Singapore. And yeah, so my friend group in college was people from Singapore and one girl from Thailand as well. So I kind of became friends with a lot of the international students, which was a lot of fun. But I've been there too. I visited for 1 week. I was doing missions work in Thailand one summer with one of my best friends from Singapore. And then I went to Singapore with him and he showed me around and everything. So I'm obsessed with it. I think you guys have like the best form of government in the world, like of any country. I think totalitarian governments are like where it's at. I think democracy is demonic. Honestly, it's so bad. Like if you read Plato's Republic, he discusses all the demise of what democracy causes, including like extreme homelessness. It's literally in the Republic. And in Singapore, they don't have homelessness. they've done so much to try to get rid of racism, because in their public housing, which is like the majority of people live in the government public housing, they have to have the majority of each ethnicity that is part of the country in each neighborhood. So you're forced to be around people of different races and get to know them and become friends with them. And obviously they have excellent public transportation, they have a great economy, they have a great military. I think it's great forcing people to be in the military, because my dad was in the military for 3 years between high school and college, and it formed him so much as a person. And my best friend I keep talking about, one of them, the guy, I feel like he was such a better friend and a better person and a better Christian because he'd been in the military. So those are my thoughts on Singapore. I think it's better than America in a lot of ways. Although my other friend from Singapore moved to America because she fell in love with a guy from Florida. So now she's working on becoming an American citizen. So she chose to stay, which Florida's a really fun state. So I understand, but I think it would be sad to leave. Like, if I met a guy from Singapore, and this was actually like, I wanted it to happen. I wanted to meet a guy from Singapore when I was in college so I could live there. Like, I actually wanted to leave the US so bad. And it's hilarious that God has forced me to stay in the US, because since I was like in middle school, I've like not loved this country. I love California. I feel like California, like I found my home. But growing up, I don't know, it was just something about the country where I didn't feel like I fit in. And I think it's because my parents were missionaries in Russia and we lived there for so long. So it like affected my family culture, in which we never really felt like we fit into this country after that. Okay. Someone named Joshua says, I used to self-medicate my bipolar disorder with Ativan, opioid painkillers, and massive amounts of alcohol. I've been able to stop over time. I used to self-medicate with alcohol too. I haven't really talked about this, but I talk about it in my book. So I don't want to talk about it more, but I did abuse alcohol, and I was of the legal age, but I was using it because I was off meds and I wasn't on mood stabilizers. Once I went on mood stabilizers for bipolar disorder, I stopped drinking alcohol and needing alcohol. That's bad to say needing alcohol, but I felt like I needed alcohol to control the manic side of it and to help me sleep within mania and calm down and everything. So when you're not on meds, you're going to self-medicate with other things. So that's why it's really important to be on bipolar meds. Honestly, alcoholism and drug use is so high for people with bipolar, and it's because they're just not on medication. Once you get on medication, you stop wanting those to abuse substances. Daniel says, hi, Lizzie, just got here. I finished a painting yesterday. That's so cool. What was it of? Hi, Lizzie, live streaming 3 days in a row. Nice. Okay. I'm trying to get copies of Justin's Heresies Answered, as well as Irenaeus' book on heresies. So go on Amazon. I got my Against Heresies copy from Amazon. I got the one that has the icon of Irenaeus on the front, and I kind of ruined the book because I read it too much. So it's like, it doesn't look nice on the outside anymore. I always ruin my books because I like bring them everywhere and like highlight and annotate them. I like really get into my books. And my boyfriend is the exact opposite, where he like, I feel like there's two different types of people with books. So like, I want to get into the book and study it and love it. And my way of loving it is destroying it. Whereas he, like, anytime I borrow his book and it has like a little scuff mark on it, or like I turned one of the pages a little bit, he's like, Liz, you ruined my book. So yeah, I feel like it's loving the book ruining it. Wow, everybody is streaming tonight. You see me rolling. I made ground beef with carrot and potatoes today for dinner. You should have used the Gardein beefless beef. It's so good. Okay. There's an elephant in the room. Who is your favorite saint? My patron saint, Irenaeus, and Chrysostom I love too. Did I already let everyone here know that I got engaged? Raul got engaged? Yay! Congratulations! That's so exciting. Yay, Lizzie, God loves you. Prods, pray for them. Do normal people call Protestants prods? Like Prods? Is that talking about something different? They probably were the one who put a dislike on the video. Hi, much love from Brazil. Love your content. I'm currently very torn between Catholicism and EO. Both seem to have good points. I think I'll become Roman Catholic, though. So EO is Eastern Orthodox. Okay. Your nose ring is cool. Didn't notice it before. Yeah, a lot of people don't know I got a nose ring. I've wanted a nose ring since I was in high school, and I wanted my parents to allow me to get a nose ring because I don't think I legally could at the time. I was like 15 or 16 or something. And then I got to college, never got a nose ring. And then a couple years ago, I was visiting one of my best friends in Virginia, and she was going to get her nose ring again because it had grown back because she hadn't, I don't know if it got infected or whatever, but she needed to get her nose ring done again. And she was like, Liz, you should get a nose ring too. And I was like, no, like, I don't think. And she's like, Liz, come on. Like, you wanted a nose ring for years. You have to get it. She like forced me to get it. And it was so good. It was like the best decision. Like, I love it so much having a little diamond stud, like, because I wanted it for years, and it's so nice in adulthood to finally like make decisions. I also finally got earrings because I have my ears pierced and I never wear earrings. And so I finally went to Francesca's and I got some earrings. So I just have diamond studs on all the time, which I think is really cute. So that's what I have now. I have friends who have been mentally affected, depression and anxiety by the pandemic. What pieces of advice would you give me in desire to help them? So I made an entire video talking about how to help depression during the pandemic. So I'll link the video in the chat. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to find the video if I search Lizzie's Answers depression. Oh yeah, it's the first one. So it's 13 tips for living with depression. And oh my gosh, the video is so cringy because so in the video, I lost my nose ring and I was waiting to order another one from Amazon. And so I had to put like an earring in my nose to make sure it didn't close up. And I had to film videos like that because like I can't just like stop working. So the video's so cringy. Everything how I look in the video. Tips for living in depression video. Here we go. Okay. How do you and your boyfriend incorporate your faith into your relationship? Any tips for going together spiritually outside of attending mass together and praying together? So both of us, theology is our job essentially. So like he's a PhD student in theology and he writes book chapters and papers and everything. And then I do research for theology for my YouTube channel. So we basically both read in our own time and then come together and share what we're reading with each other. So I think if you both individually read theology books, then that would help. That's another thing to do for your relationship. Who is your favorite saint? I already answered that question. What does Church of Christ believe in? So, like I've said in so many videos, I grew up my entire life in Church of Christ and then became Catholic in 2018. So Church of Christ has a cappella worship, so no instruments, because they're like, instruments aren't in the Bible, so we're not going to have it in our church. And then they believe in full immersion baptism of teenagers and adults. So if you're baptized by pouring water, not a real baptism. If you're baptized as a baby, not a real baptism. If you're Catholic, going to hell. So a lot of Church of Christ people think anyone who's not full immersion baptized is going to hell. So they think a lot of people are going to be in hell. But yeah, it's very like culty, a little culty. I wouldn't say totally culty. There is like a cult that came out of Church of Christ. It's another denomination. So, okay, here's the first super chat. Thank you so much. Do you own any third-class relics? If so, what third-class relic is it? So I have a first-class relic of St. Augustine. It's Augustine's bone. I made a video about it. I got it last Christmas, and I gifted it to my boyfriend, of course, because his patron saint is Augustine, so I don't own it anymore. My boyfriend does, but when we get married, then I'll own it again. So I didn't feel that weird giving it to him. But yeah, so that's a first-class relic because it's a bone. But I don't think, honestly, I made my entire video on relics, but I still don't. Third class relic, I forget, is if you touch something to a relic. So a first class relic is a bone, or hair or blood. Second class relic is something they own, so like a cloth, for example. And then the third class relic is you can make a third class relic by touching something to a first class or maybe a second class relic. So technically, I don't think I've ever touched one of my rosaries to a relic, which is weird because I've been around a lot of them. And I actually held a relic of Saint Pope John Paul II, of his blood, at Theology, the Body Conference. So that was really cool. But yeah, I need to make third class relics, I guess. I have not. Okay. Oh, people say they always say church instead of mass when referring to their parish. Trudy Ann Brown, I'm starting to doubt the papacy. Read Upon This Rock by Stephen Ray. He has so much evidence in the book. It's really great. And actually, I will link you a video in which he talks about it, a YouTube video, if you're like not sure, if you want to. Stephen Ray Keys. Let's see if it comes up. Here we go. Peter, the Rock, the Keys, and the Chair by Steve Ray. It has almost 300,000 views on YouTube. It's so good. So video on Pope here. And then you should buy his book as well. I have his book. It's really, really good. I used it in my Pope video. Oh my gosh, I made an entire video about the papacy. Have you watched my papacy video? Let's see. Here we go. I answered the question. Did Catholics invent the Pope? Did the Pope exist in the first century is what I answered in the video. No. That yes, the Pope did exist in the first century. So here we go. Lizzie's video on the papacy. And it's a really long video. It's like 30 or 40 minutes long. So I have a lot of evidence in there. Okay. I say church rather than parish because here Australia is very Anglican. Never doubt the papacy. Okay, doubting is okay because it draws you into more research and studying, which is good. Okay. Ignatius of Antioch, the bishop, by Peter, speaks about the importance of the Pope. Yup, in the first century. And we also have Pope Clement's letter to the Corinthians. Lizzie, what's your opinion on Jackie and Bobby Angel moving to Texas and being part of Word on Fire? I'm so excited. I think it's crazy they're leaving California. But my video I made with her, she was talking about how the sex ed for elementary school in California is so explicit and she doesn't want her kids being associated with that. And so she's homeschooling her kids because California's gone crazy in their education system. So it's not surprising to me that they're like excited to move to a different state, but I'm sure it's crazy for her to leave because she grew up there and so has lived like her entire life in California. So that's a crazy transition, but I'm so excited for them because I love Word on Fire. I love the Angels. So them collabing together is so freaking cool. I saw on social media today too. I'm getting emails from my college, which is like from forever ago. I'm like, why do they have my email? What are they contacting me about? Okay. Do Orthodox pray the rosary? No. Saint Dominic preached the praying of the rosary in the, I actually don't know what century, but it happened after the Great Schism. Okay. When were you in Church of Christ? Do you think that Catholics are, when you were in Church of Christ, did you think that Catholics are going to hell? Yes, for most of the time, but once I got to college, and I talk about this in my book, I met so many Catholics and it was like getting hard. It got me to a point where it was like impossible for me to believe that they would all go to hell just because I dated a Catholic when I was a sophomore in college and I got to know him on such a deep spiritual level. And I was like, there's no way he's going to hell because he's Catholic instead of Church of Christ. Like that doesn't make sense to me at all that God was sent to hell. Who is someone who loves God so deeply? So that really changed my mind, getting to know Catholics. And then I had a lot of Catholic friends in college, which is why I'm Catholic now. If you become friends with Catholics and especially with Catholic converts, like, oh no, you might end up converting too. I have a video on my channel, like, how not to become Catholic or something, and I talk about that in it. What is that video called? how to not be Catholic or something. I think that video is hilarious. How to avoid becoming Catholic. It's a really short video. The thumbnail is like, and I kind of shared in that video. Yeah. I also promised my hair would be curled for this live stream, but I will probably curl it tomorrow. So for tomorrow's live stream, I might have curled hair in it. Okay. You should pray the rosary on the live stream. I've said a lot of times, I don't feel comfortable praying over live stream. I just don't know why it makes me uncomfortable. Okay. Ignatius was anointed bishop by Peter. Yep. The Orthodox do have the rosary. They also have another beaded prayer called the something, if I'm not mistaken. They definitely don't pray the rosary. If they do, I'm floored because it's a Catholic practice that happened after the Great Schism. It's kind of like they don't even like consider our saints if they're after the Great Schism. Okay. How long did it take you to be comfortable praying the rosary? I just started as a Protestant. So it took me like probably a year or 2 years until I started being comfortable with Mary as a person in general in the church. And literally to this day, I still feel uncomfortable with Mary sometimes because it was drilled into me my entire life that Catholics worship Mary and that they put too much emphasis on her and that it's evil and demonic. Maybe they didn't say demonic, but that's always in my head for our inside jokes on the stream. But yeah, I still feel uncomfortable with it. And like, it's not my fault. It's because of the way I grew up and it like forced me to think like this. But it's really sad. And like, I'm very comfortable with Mary and I pray to her a lot and I do my rosary and I love church art of Mary and everything. It's like my Twitter banner is like Mary and Jesus. But sometimes it still makes me uncomfortable when there's like giant songs to Mary or like giant Mary statues. I'm like, but I also love it. So it's like mixed feelings in there and it's like almost gone. Like I haven't had an experience where I felt uncomfortable with her in probably a few months. So yeah, and it's totally fine if you're a convert that will take a long time to go away because you have these things drilled into you for your entire life. And on an emotional level, it just takes a long time to accept. So like, even when I had accepted all the Marian dogmas, I still like emotionally was hard to accept, even though my mind had accepted it, but my heart had not yet. Raul says, I am Orthodox and I pray the rosary. Really? Is it because you watch my videos or is it like on your own, the Orthodox? I had no idea. Okay. Someone says they agree with me where they don't say OMG. We don't pray the rosary. We use prayer ropes saying the Jesus prayer. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's so interesting that an Orthodox Christian prays the rosary. I had no idea. Okay, another super chat from Raphael. Thank you so much. Have you ever thought about making a Marian consecration? I don't even know what that is. I don't know what a Marian consecration is. Here, I'll write it down. I should talk to my priest about it. Marian consecration. Good evening, Lizzie. Hi, Joe Fagan. How are you? There's an atheist on the chat named Justin King. Hello. No, I'm Eastern Rite Orthodox. Interesting. What do you mean Eastern Rite Orthodox? There's Eastern Rite Catholic and Western Latin Rite Catholic. I don't think there's Eastern Rite and Western Rite Orthodox. I mean, maybe I'm completely misinformed on all of this. I don't know. The secular media exaggerates Pope Francis's words for their own agendas. Absolutely. I have to correct my friends and family on Catholic teaching all the time because of stuff they hear that Pope Francis said that he didn't even say, or he didn't even mean, or it got misinterpreted. It's so ridiculous. I saw something on Instagram and it was like so true. And it said let me think exactly what it said. the job of the Pope is to clarify the church's teachings to Catholics. It's not the Catholic's job to clarify the teachings of the Pope. And I was like, yeah, why does the media constantly make it so that we have to be the one teaching people about the faith? The Pope should be the leader in helping people understand the faith. I mean, obviously, we have a lot to do too. Have you ever thought of having a podcast? I have thought about having a podcast. Representative Republic is more reasonable than the popular vote majority vote. I want to go to an Eastern Rite Orthodox church service. I need to learn more about governments. I was wondering if you could do a video on people with celiac disease or people with an allergy to wheat and what to do with the Eucharist. I'm deathly allergic to wheat. Okay, that's a good video. So we talked about this last live stream too, but I'll talk about it again. So in the host, so what appears as bread, and in what appears as wine, both of them individually have the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ. So the blood of Christ is in what appears as the bread, and the body of Christ is in what appears as wine. So you do not have to receive you don't have to receive both. There are some Catholic churches that don't allow you to receive what appears as wine. And if that happens, then go to a different parish if you literally cannot receive any gluten. They do make gluten-free, low gluten hosts. So they have to have some amount of gluten in it, but they make low gluten ones. So sometimes I'll be at a mass and I'll see someone come up for the Eucharist and like talk to the priest, and then the priest will go back and then come back. And it's because he's getting the low gluten host. So I think like every Catholic church has that, so you can try it out and see if you're okay with that. But I actually have two friends who are allergic to, they can't have wine either. And so they're not able to ever receive the Eucharist ever. Maybe I should have them in a video explaining it. What to do if you're allergic to the Eucharist. I feel like that's an important video to talk about. Okay, and we can talk about the celiac disease and here, I'll just screenshot this comment. People with something allergy to wheat. Anaphylactic. I'm horrible at pronouncing words. Okay. Okay. Every time I comment on one of your videos, there's this one Protestant that comments on my comment and says, wake up, and comments a few verses from the Bible and is talking about idolatry. Ugh, I hate it. So the next time it happens, you should tell me who the Protestant is, and I can just block them from the whole channel so that you don't have to deal with it anymore. So just message me on Twitter or Instagram with a link to your comment or the video, and I'll look for it. I had some friends back in college that were devoted monarchists. Okay. I am inquiring. I'm talking to both a Catholic and Orthodox priest separately and asking for resources so I can have a balanced perspective. But I'm leaning to Orthodoxy, TBH. Read Stephen Ray's Rock so you can get the Catholic perspective of the Pope. You should do a video on obscure and interesting controversial scenes. Okay, I will screenshot this comment. Most saints had very obscure events in their lives. Will you be talking about guardian angels in your book? Unfortunately, it's not in the book so far. I don't know if it's going to be part of the book. Probably not. Because I don't know. I do pray to my guardian angel, though. So maybe, here, I'll write it down. In book, talk about guardian angel. I pray to my friends' guardian angels, too. Okay. What do you listen to when you read? So I like, if I'm reading a hardcore theology book, I cannot listen to music and read at the same time. But when I am doing YouTube, so when I'm writing video scripts or editing videos, I do listen to music like the entire time. So that's why when I gave up music for Lent, it was so wild. This past year, it was actually really nice because instead I had to listen to the Bible and listen to meditations, and yeah, it was so much better giving up music. Maybe I should do it for Advent too. Also, the Orthodox Christians go vegan for Advent and for Lent. So Catholics, do better. Go vegan. I read the Oxford Dictionary of Saints, and there were some really weird ones. People who like levitate and stuff. Let's see. No, I need my protein and fat from the beef for strong muscle. Okay. Irish people call them prods in Northern Ireland. Really? Instead of Protestant prods? That kind of offends me from my past self. I'm skinny too and have low cholesterol genetically, so being vegan would make it worse for me. You can gain weight. You can be vegan thick. There are so many like high protein, high fat, vegan sources of food that you can gain weight on. There's like, people don't understand this, that there is not a vegan diet. Like vegan, there is no vegan diet. Veganism is a set of foods you can eat, and there are dozens of types of vegan diets. So just because someone is losing a lot of weight or like they're low protein or low calorie, that is not veganism. There are dozens of different ways to be vegan. So if you have low cholesterol genetically, you can, yeah. So veganism, like, I would say there might be a couple like crazy health scenarios where like it's like physically impossible to be vegan. Like it can be really hard if you can't have a lot of fiber for some reason. That can be difficult. But even that, like, okay. So like one reason someone couldn't be vegan is if they couldn't have fiber like at all and they're allergic to tofu. Then it would be like really hard to be vegan because most of the protein sources besides like tofu, tempeh have a lot of fiber in them, like beans, quinoa, rice, bread, oatmeal, like all of these things that are high in protein have a lot of fiber in them. So if you can't have fiber, that's hard. But then you can do like meat substitutes and tofu and tempeh all the time if you wanted to be vegan. So yeah, most people have zero excuses to not be vegan. And it's so cheap to eat vegan too when you do everything homemade. Hey, I just finished a rosary. I'm glad you did. That sounds so fun. This isn't Catholic chat. The painting that I did was a forest with a procession of friars holding candles. I painted a lake in the foreground so that I would have a reflection. Also, was the icon you showed the Last Supper? Lizzie, please pray for me tomorrow. I'm taking a test for Kung Fu advancement. That's so fun. Hey, Lizzie, always wondered if you caught up with any of your COC friends and what the dialogue is like between you. Have any of them converted or thought about it? Yes. So definitely a lot of my COC friends have become Catholic. I would say that my other friends, there's like zero dialogue between us about theology because it's so tense. So we just like don't talk about it. What is the name of your book going to be? I have no freaking idea what the title will be, so you guys have to pick the title for me. I'm torn over the dogma of the Immaculate Conception because I have a veneration to Our Lady of Lourdes. I have an entire video on the Immaculate Conception. There's so much evidence for it. It totally makes sense. Lizzie's Answers, Immaculate Conception, Why Mary Was Sinless. Here we go. Video on Immaculate Conception. There we go.
Hi, I'm Dr. Amy Killen. I have my own medical...
Sorry, the ad started playing. Okay. I knew people in Ireland call Protestants proddies. That's so offensive. I think that's mean. It's like calling the Protestant Reformation the Protestant Revolution, you know? It's just rude. When is your book going to be released? Next year, for sure. I will fight for it to be finished by next year. If you were stuck in quarantine with one of the Old Testament prophets, who would it be? I don't even know. That's such a hard question. Because they're all too intense, you know? I don't think I'd want to be stuck in quarantine with any Old Testament prophet. Okay. Do you feel like your struggle with bipolar disorder has made you cling to God? No, it's pushed me away from God a lot, and I think it makes it hard for me to believe in an all-benevolent God with all the suffering I have to endure. But as a Catholic, it's like easier to cling to God with my bipolar, but I would not say that it's made me feel closer to God. I think it's made it difficult to feel close to God, especially in depression. What do you think about the Lutheran rosary, a normal rosary, but the Hail Marys are replaced with the Jesus prayer? That's so interesting that Lutherans pray the rosary too, but they don't do the Hail Mary. That's so weird. Okay. I wish I had a relic of my patron saint. Instruments are in the Bible, harp and lyre and even guitar, LOL. I know, but the early church didn't use instruments. But yeah, obviously there are like, worship God with the lyre. Like there's Bible verses like that. So yeah. Instruments are in the Bible. Hello from the Philippines. Hi, Ryan. Speaking of that, do you and Trevor plan on getting married soon? Maybe in like 2022? I don't know. We need to talk about a game plan for our relationship. Maybe we'll talk about it when I visit him. I'll keep you guys updated. I grew up in the Southern Baptist Convention, but more like independent fundamentalist Baptist in its theology. I didn't want anything to do with it by the time I turned 18. Yeah, Southern Baptists, I really don't like their theology. Lizzie's new book is called Infiltration to the Rise of Modernism. What is your favorite plant? I am not a plant person. Like, I prefer fake flowers over real flowers. Jay says, so this is from Lord of the Rings, doubting the papacy is doubting that the king will return. And until that, he has left his kingdom in the hands of his first minister and steward. Okay. Mariana says, hey, Lizzie, my Protestant friend is almost converting to Catholicism, but he is having a hard time believing in Mary theology. So you lucked out because I have an entire playlist on Mary theology going over the Marian dogmas. So if you just YouTube search Lizzie's Answers Mary playlist, all of those videos will come up. There's 14 videos. Wow. There's 14 videos in the playlist right now. It's about proving Mary is Queen of Heaven, proving Virgin Mary was sinless, how my views changed on Virgin Mary, why I stopped hating Mary, how to pray the rosary for Protestants, 5 reasons Mary was a perpetual virgin, and 5 reasons I believe in the Assumption of Mary, and Guadalupe video, and 7 reasons to not pray the... Well, that video is kind of... It's not clickbait. It's 7 reasons to not pray the rosary debunked. Anyways. So here's my Mary theology playlist. If you're struggling with any of the Marian dogmas, definitely check out that video. The only video I haven't made is why we call her Theotokos, Mother of God. But that one is like so easy to understand. The other ones like perpetual virginity, Mary being sinless, What was the other one? Oh, the Assumption of Mary. Like, what does that even mean as a Protestant? Like, what is Assumption? So all the ones that are really hard, I've already made videos on. Mary Theology playlist, and you can tell your friend that they're from a former Protestant. Okay, let's see. More comments. Will you homeschool your kids? I've actually considered it after talking to Jackie Angel about it when we did our video together. I was like, oh, that's interesting, because she said like she and her husband both went to public school and they never would have thought about it, but they met so many other parents who homeschool. So my thing is like, I want to be productive and get work done, and I think it would be distracting to have kids home all the time. But I don't know, maybe I will love being a mom so much and just love homeschooling and quit my YouTube channel or something. But I can't see myself quitting my YouTube channel and like quitting my career and everything. I just can't see that happening. But I would have to marry like a very fundamentalist Catholic guy to do that, you know? Like Trevor's like, do your career. So let's see. There's so many Californians moving out to go to Texas. It's becoming cliche now. If you're doing that, don't vote Democrat, please. Okay. Someone is Jewish. How are you doing? You guys are talking to each other. They want to know why you became Catholic. What did they do wrong? If you were stuck in, we already answered that question. Let's see. Talking to each other. Answered that question. Justin says, lifelong Church of Christ, looking into converting. Your channel has been a huge help. Thank you. Welcome home in advance. We're so happy to have you in our 1 billion strong family. Actually, let's see. Are there actually Catholics in the world? Let's see how many Catholics there are. Yeah, 1.2 billion Catholics. More than 40% of the world's Catholics live in Latin America, but Africa has seen the biggest growth in Catholic congregations in recent years. Yeah, the next pope needs to be from Africa. I think so. Or China. Somewhere in the southern hemisphere for sure, again. Okay. I know Western Rite Orthodox people who practice the Sacred Heart devotion. So there's a Western Rite of the Orthodox Church? What am I missing? What have I missed out on? Okay. The rosary is a spiritual weapon. The rosary most likely came from beaded prayers done by monks who had a beaded rope. They used to say Our Father in the Psalms. I talked about that in my rosary video where the rosary came from. Okay. Varuna Rovinda said, is St. Ignatius used Catholic Church word to mean universal church or Roman Catholic Church? Okay, that's a great question. I talked about this in my video, when did the Catholic Church begin? So we've been on here for an hour? What? It has not felt like an hour. Okay, so Lizzie's Answers, when did the Catholic Church begin? So in that video, I start the video by quoting St. Ignatius. He was born in the 1st century and died in the year 110. Did he die in the year 110? Let's make sure. Ignatius of Antioch. He died in the year 108. So Ignatius lived in the 1st century, and then he died in the early 2nd century in the year 108. In a letter he wrote to the Smyrnaeans in 90 AD, he says, wherever Jesus Christ is, there is the Catholic Church in the 1st century. So people are like, does this mean Roman Catholic, or does it mean Catholic meaning the universal church? So yes and yes, I would argue. So everyone's like, you can't say that's the Roman Catholic Church. It just means universal. But if you look at what that letter is talking about, and what other letters in the 1st and 2nd centuries are talking about, it seems like the theology of the Catholic Church you can find in the 1st century and in the Bible. So when they say Catholic, they are talking about the current Catholic Church because we existed back then. We were created in 33 AD by Jesus' apostles in Acts 2 at Pentecost. So that is the Catholic Church. It's the Catholic and Orthodox churches together, which the Orthodox Church used to be part of Catholic Church. Okay. So here's my videos. 5th century, when did Catholicism begin? Council of Trent, question mark. Okay, here. When did the Catholic Church begin? I can't even spell Catholic. What am I doing wrong? Catholic Church begin. Okay, so there's that video for you guys. Okay, would you ever want to witness an exorcism? These questions are out of nowhere. No, that sounds terrifying. Okay. Okay. In many parishes, they have consecrated gluten-free hosts for allergic people. They have been handled separately than the rest. Yeah. There are Western Rite Orthodox or Orthodox churches who recognize the primacy of Peter and in communion with the Supreme Pontiff. Eastern Rite Orthodox are those who don't recognize the Pope. Interesting. Guys, let's make sure Lizzie is okay with that discussion. I came in late, so someone update me if Lizzie sees this. Let me know. What do you think about the Lutheran rosary? We talked about that. My traditional Latin Mass only gives out the bread. They do bread dipped in wine for their Latin Novus Ordo Masses, though. That's so interesting that they go to a Roman Rite parish and they dip the bread in wine. Because usually that's only at Eastern Rite Catholic churches. Okay. Good work, Lizzie. Keep going. I went to confession this evening. Yay. I wish all Christians can reunite again as one body of believers and ditch all these ridiculous divisions. Will everyone become Catholic and united with the Pope and there won't be any division? Okay. It's funny that Mother Teresa is considered an obscure and controversial saint. I feel like nowadays she's not. Justin says, I would like to talk to someone about RCIA, but travel for work. Is there a way to connect with church online for guidance? So you're in luck. Probably RCIA is being done over Zoom right now. So it might work out for you. But I would just call the priest at the closest parish to where you live and ask them what their RCIA program is like. And then if that one doesn't work with your schedule, just try the other closest Catholic church. There's Catholic churches literally everywhere. So I'm sure you're going to find one in your area that can work with your schedule. And if not, if the actual class doesn't, then the leader can work with you one-on-one. They'll go above and beyond to help you become Catholic. Okay. Let's see. Lizzie, please don't make me be vegan. That's too much work. Okay, it's so much fun. You have to like cook all of your own food, but you're so much healthier and you have so much more energy and you're saving the environment because because the rest of the world won't like give up some of their meat. Us vegans have to like give everything up to save the environment and get rid of global warming. We have to like go 100% to save the earth, and you save animals from being horrifically tortured and murdered. It's like so great. Like, what is the downside? Did anyone know that according to legend, Saint Martha of Bethany slayed a dragon with hyssop and holy water? Hashtag the Middle Ages were magic. Being vegan is great. If anyone is wondering, Lizzie is right. Okay. Do you have any videos about going vegan? I've thought about it all the time. My friend is vegan and she told me that I'd have to do my research first. I can't believe your friend didn't like help you do research. She was just like, go do your own research. Like, you're a freaking vegan. Represent the movement and share research. So I really recommend my vegan playlist. I have an entire playlist on veganism where I talk about why I'm vegan. It's called LizziesAnswers Vegan Videos. So I have a lot of videos on there. So I'll just link my vegan playlist and I talk about it in there. And I really recommend you to watch a movie called Forks Over Knives, Food Inc., and Cowspiracy. And they're documentaries about veganism. Cowspiracy is about how meat causes global warming. Yes, it does. The current way we are producing meat in the factory farm system, it's the #1 contributor to deforestation, to air pollution, to water pollution, to greenhouse gases, all of that. It's horrible. We're like killing the earth by eating too much meat. So just like downsize the amount of meat you're eating, at least to save the earth. YouTube has shows on making vegan meat that sounds good, which I use vegan sausage and beans and rice for church. No one knew. That's the best when you're vegan and like feeding people vegan things and not telling them that it's fake meat and then they love it. I think it's so funny. I get breakouts when I eat vegan and get lethargic. So like I said, there's no such thing as one vegan diet. There are dozens, hundreds of types of vegan diets. So you can do keto vegan, you can do high protein, you can do high carb, you can do high fat, you can do high carb, low fat, you can do high protein, high fat. You can literally do so many different types of veganism. So if one type of veganism is making you lethargic, then you probably have a horrible diet, because that should not happen. Oh my goodness. How do I fix tofu? I fried it. It was very neutral taste. So you have to season it. You need a vegan recipe book. So just get any vegan recipe book and they will tell you how to make tofu. Although I actually don't like making tofu. I do tofu scramble and I will like blend tofu into like sauces and stuff. But I do not just like cook tofu because I don't know how. So you don't have to eat tofu as a vegan. I barely ever eat tofu. I eat all the fake meats and I eat a lot of beans and rice and oats and bread and tortillas, tacos, pizza, pasta. There's so many things you can eat. And I barely ever eat tofu as a vegan. So if you hate tofu, you don't have to eat tofu. But I do eat tofu in like the fake meat products. They're made of tofu. God likes meat better, ask Cain and Abel. Okay, but in the Garden of Eden, which was perfection, everyone was vegan. Thoughts on tarot cards? Don't do them. I'm not vegan because rice, beans, and cheese is not what I want to eat forever. You don't have to eat rice and beans to be vegan. Like, there's literally so many types of vegan foods. Like, I stopped eating rice. Like, I haven't had rice in several months, and I've been able to keep up my vegan diet. So I eat a lot of pasta, potatoes, fake meat products. You can also have quinoa, lentils, so many different options for carb source. Do you ever see yourself moving out of California? When I get married, we won't be doing long distance anymore, hopefully. So, so many comments. Okay. Before you met Trevor, did you ever worry that due to your mental illness, nobody would want you? Never! That's like a very insecure thought, and I have like no insecurities. I'm not an insecure person. So I know that comes across as like very confrontational and like full of myself. Like I don't have insecurities, but like my friends have told me too. And that was when I realized it for the first time. One of my friends told me in college, he was like, talking about our friend group, and she was like, because you don't have insecurities and you like don't even understand what it is to have insecurities, and that's why you have conflict with this person. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. So yeah, I've never really been insecure about being bipolar. I would say I didn't talk to people about it for like the first year just because everyone was like denying that I was bipolar and I didn't want to deal with it. But I remember as my New Year's resolution for 2016, I started talking about how I was bipolar in like normal conversations, and everyone was totally chill with it. Like people don't even care anymore, especially like our generation. Mental illness is becoming so normal and so popularized and so talked about. Like every YouTuber basically has a mental illness and makes videos about it. So I feel like it's becoming so normalized that like no one really cares anymore. And honestly, like a lot of people I've met who have dated bipolar girls have been like, it's the best sex ever. So literally people I've met who dated bipolar people think they're like really, really, really fun when they're in their manic side, not just physically, but in other ways as well. So my boyfriend actually doesn't like when I'm manic, but I've met people who have dated bipolar people who love their manic side. And then obviously the depression side is really hard to deal with. But I mean, the idea is to be on medicine and to not experience episodes at all, but there are positives that do come out of the episodes. And honestly, bipolar people are so empathetic. Like, I think we have the highest empathy of any mental illness and like obviously above the general population. So I think we're better at loving people because we experience that. And also, my last YouTube video, I talked about detachment and how I go through periods in my relationship where I like lose all feeling and emotion towards my boyfriend. And because of that, I'm better in our relationship. Because in the future, if we have a period in our marriage where we like lose attraction to each other for a long period of time, I'm not going to be like, oh, we should get divorced. I'll be like, oh, I've been through detachment. It's just something that you deal with, but you stick with the other person because you care about them and have made a commitment with them and you're amazing together. And just because you have dry patches in your relationship doesn't mean you should leave it. So I literally think that bipolar people who have gone to therapy and are on medication and are self-aware about it are way better in relationships. Like I have learned so much about myself in therapy. I've been to therapy so many times, and I've learned like all the ways that I was scarred as a child and how to not hurt other people with the same things. And I never would have gone to therapy if I wasn't bipolar. So I think there's a lot of pluses to it. And some people might be like, I don't want to date a bipolar girl. But once you actually get to know bipolar people, like we're just like everyone else. We just have to take medication every night or every day, depending on when you take your meds. Okay. People are talking about the Orthodox Church. People are talking about popes. The Pope cannot teach heresy. Let's see. People are debating with Protestants. Everyone's debating each other. Super comment. Frogton Road says, how can we bring Ed Sheehan back to church? Does he mean Ed Sheeran? But the way to bring anyone back to church is to invite your friends to come to Mass. Invite your friends and family. I always invite my friends if they want to come to Mass with me. Like, even if I know they'll say no, just to make them feel included. So I think you should always ask if they want to come to Mass. And a lot of times people will surprise you and actually want to come with you. So yeah, pretty much everyone in my life has come to Mass with me, except my parents. Even my sister has come to Mass with me. Yeah, like all my friends have come to Mass with me because I've asked them to come with me and they've come with me. So you'll be surprised when you invite people to come to Mass. Okay. It's a Catholic thing to not eat meat on Friday. Let's make it a thing again. Yes, if you're a Catholic, don't eat meat on Friday. And literally, I understand like not being in the habit of doing this and forgetting to do it. But guys, meat in Catholic theology is not including fish. So you could have fish, but not other meat. That's so freaking easy. Just replace your beef protein source with fish. Like, so freaking easy. Or eat pizza that doesn't have meat on it. So it's so easy to not eat meat on Friday. I have like zero empathy for people who think that's like a difficult thing. I understand remembering is hard, but that's why you have to pray about it. Put it in your planner every Friday that you're not supposed to eat meat and you will remember. Okay. Yeah. It's mandatory to abstain from meat on Fridays during Lent for those above the age of 14. Okay, I'm almost getting down to like where you guys are at right now. Orthodox cookbooks have amazing vegan recipes for Lent and Advent. So cool. Jesus is coming back. Yeah, Adam and Eve were vegan till God made some nutrients have to be received from animals because of eating from the forbidden. No. That's my moderator too, spreading false information about nutrition. We do not need meat for proper nutrition. All nutrients besides vitamin B12 is in plant-based foods, and it's the #1 way to prevent yourself from getting cancer, heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and loads of other illnesses. There's a book called The China Study, which I highly recommend reading, and it talks about how there was this leader in China who was dying of cancer, and his like dying wish was to do a huge study in all of China about different types of cancer and diseases and nutrition. So they basically recorded in all the provinces what their primary diet was and the rates of things like breast cancer, colon cancer, multiple sclerosis, heart attacks, like all of that. They recorded everything. And the provinces that had like 0 rates of certain diseases were plant-based and ate mostly vegan. So literally, it's been estimated that our healthcare costs in the US could go down by 70% if everyone ate plant-based. So highly recommend watching the video Forks Over Knives on Netflix. It's so good. I've watched it multiple times with multiple people. Okay. Let's see. Did people understand bipolar before? So in ancient Rome, they put bipolar people in lithium baths, and lithium today is a medication that bipolar people make. So they thought that the manic phase was a gift from the gods. So they've known about bipolar people since antiquity, but being able to diagnose in the modernist way that we do and all the different medications is obviously the past few decades, we've created all these amazing medications. And it's actually interesting. So medications that help people with seizures are the same medications that are mood stabilizers for bipolar. So I think someone like discovered that by chance, but I think it's so cool that we can share medicine. So if someone has seizures and is bipolar, they might only have to take one medicine. Is it okay to listen to Catholic rap? Absolutely. How do you think people should view God's wrath and his love? We talked about this in last live stream. So I think you should pray a lot about understanding the right balance and communicating the right balance to people in your life. Okay. Someone just said they used to be bipolar in middle school, but God saved them from that. So I understand that miracles can happen and God can heal people from diseases, but in the majority of cases, God has given us brains to create science and create medicine to heal people. And so I get so annoyed when people are like, pray to God to heal your bipolar. Like, God's given us amazing scientists and amazing medication to take care of, like, get rid of bipolar symptoms on earth so I don't have to deal with it anymore. So, like, do I need to be cured? No, because I have medication, and medication is amazing and it works so well. I honestly feel like being bipolar is a gift God designed us in a very unique way. I totally agree. I wouldn't want to get rid of it if I could. Mozart and Beethoven were thought to be bipolar. Honestly, so many famous people were bipolar here. Bipolar famous people. Let's see what the internet says. So a lot of celebrities like Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, Carrie Fisher. Let's see who else is bipolar. These are like modern people who have been diagnosed with it. Yeah, I've never heard of like most of these. Frank Sinatra, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Jimi Hendrix, Mariah Carey. Wow. Yeah, Russell Brand, Stephen Fry, Ted Turner, Winston Churchill. I don't want to see celebrities. I want to see people, cool people from the past. Theodore Roosevelt apparently was bipolar, one of our presidents. Historical figures with bipolar disorder. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, I read a really cool article once and it was talking about mental illness in presidents, and like so many presidents had like major depressive disorder or generalized anxiety disorder. Like so many presidents have had that. And looking back, like reading their journal entries and stuff, it's like so obvious that you can like post-diagnose it. Although like if I was a therapist, like a licensed therapist, I wouldn't even be able to say stuff like this because it's like going against your degree, looking at people in the past. Joseph Smith had bipolar, the founder of Mormonism. He was in a manic episode when he created Mormonism, which is pretty cool that a bipolar person created like an entire religion. But it's kind of a mess, obviously, because he was in his manic state. But yeah. What is your favorite title of Mary? I lately have been really liking Queen of Patriarchs, of the Old Testament patriarchs. I think it's so cool how she's queen of everyone. Someone said they have a high metabolism and couldn't survive on a vegan diet. Okay, I will agree that it's hard to have a high metabolism and be vegan because you have to eat so much food. And see, most people love food, and the fact that you can eat more food in a vegan diet because it's lower calories, so you can physically eat more food, I find really annoying. But my metabolism actually dropped when I turned 23, and it just like went way down. Like I used to eat like 2,500 calories a day, and now I'm at like, I don't know, I should calorie count and see how much I eat. But I just noticed that like my hunger level went down, but then I maintained the same weight. I don't know if that makes sense. But I like experienced my metabolism go down. Before, I would eat like 2,500, 3,000 calories a day because I exercised a lot, and it was ridiculous. Like I had to like eat and eat and eat and eat and eat, but it's for the animals and the earth and for health, so it's worth eating more. But honestly, if that's your biggest complaint with being vegan, you have to eat more. Like, and also you can try eating like higher caloric food, which like you can eat more avocado, almond butters, nuts, seeds, like adding more of those things to your diet. But I think like the way I preferred to eat, I just had to eat more food. I used to make like entire blender of smoothie and drink like all of it for breakfast. Like I ate so much food. Okay. Does Mary wear a physical crown? What is it made of? I need to get back to exercising. This pandemic and injury has been horrible for it. Yeah. Peter was a Jew, not a Catholic. He was Jewish and he established Catholicism, so he also became Catholic. Jesus was Catholic too. He started Catholicism. Lizzie, did you talk about the McCarrick report at all? Yes, I mentioned it on social media, and I linked a Bishop Barron video talking about it. Do you have proof of that, or is that just a claim? I hope that is not true, that Peter was the Pope or that Jesus was Catholic. So much proof of that. I've made 120 videos proving that the Catholic Church is the original church founded by Jesus. My friend is really sensitive for people. Any suggestion on being less sensitive? No, I just can't relate to it because I'm not a sensitive person. Although I cry easily, but I don't get offended by people, if that makes sense. Okay. 120 holy water shots, y'all. Okay. The Catholic Bible has every year of every pope since Peter. Lizzie, I'm talking to somebody in the chat. Oh, okay. Mary has an infinite amount of crowns. Every time we pray the rosary, we bind a crown of roses for our Blessed Mother. Oh, that's so sweet. Lizzie, what do you think about Bart Ehrman? So we had to read his book for my Greek class. He like co-wrote the book with a Christian, one of our textbooks. And our professor hated him so much because apparently he goes on mainstream media and he's like, there are thousands of scribal errors in the Bible, and like 89%, this is not exact, but there's something like 70 or 80% of the scribal errors are the movable nu, which is like optional to put the movable nu there, and it doesn't change the meaning of the word at all. That's the majority of scribal errors. So he'll be like, there's 10,000 scribal errors in the Bible, and it's like most of them don't change the meaning of the sentence literally in any way. So he just like is very clickbaity with the way he talks, basically. He could be a great YouTuber. You guys, Lizzie's going to be a nun. What? Do you pray the rosary in Latin? I only have one time, and it was actually really fun, so maybe I should do more often. It took me like an hour and a half, though. Do you know Jonathan Pagot? I don't think so. So you would have to confess that too. You consider yourself Orthodox. Have you heard about the terror management theory at any point? Bart Ehrman is a terrible theologian. Muslims try to use his books and get refuted by us evangelists all the time. Is Lizzie going to be a nun? No, I'm going to get married. Can we just not? Okay, I agree with Carson. Can we just not nonchalantly call people heretics and hellbound regardless if they are Catholic or Protestant? That's not how one should evangelize on either side. Yeah, don't go around calling people heretics because most people are not formal heretics. Examples of formal heretics are like Martin Luther, like people who choose to leave the Catholic Church. People who grow up Protestant are not formal heretics. They believe heresy, but they're not heretics. So let's not get it confused. What do you think about the huge rates of growth of nun monasteries in the US? It's amazing. I was actually not aware that there had been huge growths, but that's so cool. Because I know there's so many convents that are empty, and it's like so many less people are going into religious life than in the past, post-Vatican II. Okay. Have you heard of this channel called Vatican Catholic? Because he holds some radical traditional views, and I think it's good to see other views. I will screenshot this and look it up another time. Sorry for calling Lizzie a nun. Maybe one day, guys, I'm about to get engaged. I don't want to become a nun. I want to get married to Trevor. Okay. I want to YouTube again, my friend, but I'm really hesitant about it. Christmas does not start till Christmas Day and does not end till January the 6th. I never listen to Christmas music till December 25th or decorate. I only have an Advent wreath before Christmas. That's Catholic goals. I was literally thinking about that. If in the future, when I have a family and a home and everything, if I'm going to not set up the Christmas tree until December 25th and like instead do like Advent stuff, I don't know. It's so interesting because most Catholics start like celebrating Christmas early when technically like we don't. So anyways, we've been here for an hour and 36 minutes. So I'm going to go. I have to make food for myself. I have some dishes to do. And then I'm going to do some reading and then go to sleep later in the night. So I love you guys a lot. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'll be back to live stream tomorrow night too. And then on Friday, I'll be on the East Coast visiting Trevor. I'm so excited. He's turning 30 years old. It's his birthday. And then on Sunday is his anniversary of being, so he became Catholic on the Feast of Christ the King. So that's like his anniversary. But then the actual day that he became Catholic is in a week on, let's see, on the 26th. So the 26th was Sunday, 3 years ago when he became Catholic. So wow, there's so many emojis in the chat of Queen Mary emojis. What is the one place you want to see? I really want to see Our Lady of Guadalupe Basilica in Mexico so bad. Where does Trevor live in the East Coast? I'm not going to share my location and where I'll be, but it's pretty easy to find out. So if you do know, don't share, please. Okay, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. This has been really fun. Thanks for submitting so many questions. I love you guys a lot. Bye.